Hey guys, Shane here, Pocket Knife Review. I'm doing this video as part of an open tag for a video that I saw about 5 knives that YouTube made me buy. I'd like to change that a little bit though. I don't want to give any credit to YouTube, but more or less for the YouTubers and who these guys were, and the fact that I trusted them enough to ask their opinion before purchasing a knife, and one has greatly influenced my knife buying is Jared Neve. So we'll just go ahead and get the video started off on the first knife I ever asked about. This is the first knife that I started asking opinions on and what I should get. This is about where I was at in my collection at the time. $100 knife was super exciting to me. I was just getting into that realm, and I couldn't decide between the Code 4 and the Code Steel Recon 1. So I reached out to a YouTuber that I barely knew. He didn't know who I was at the time, I don't think. And messaged him on IG and asked him what he thought. And he said Code 4 all day. So I bought it. I did buy it secondhand. There's a great story that goes along with this knife, but I'm not going to get into that. But I did end up getting the S35VN version. Luckily, it was still the hologram version, so it's a very good slicer. This knife has served me very, very well. It has been an excellent pocket knife. I still recommend it to this day. And like I said, guys, Jared Neve, he turned me on to this knife, and I'm thankful for it. I'm glad that I bought it. So we'll move on to the next one. The next knife I bought off of a recommendation from a YouTuber was another man that I think very highly of, and that is Peter of the Therapeutic Edge. Peter has spoken very highly of the Benchmade Super Freak, and I knew that my taste kind of aligned with Peter's. So if he thought it was that great a knife, then I was going to agree with him. Now, I'm going to disclose something here, guys. This is not the knife that I bought because of Peter's recommendation. At the time, I didn't have the money to buy a Super Freak. I bought a regular Freak. I loved that knife as well, but I ended up trading that knife, and I recently did a trade to get the Super Freak because I missed my Freak ever since I got rid of it. But I knew I wanted the Super Freak, and man, this is a great knife. The upgrade on this from the regular Freak is, in my opinion, is worth every penny. You're getting a good quality G10 scale versus the FRN, M4 blade steel versus the S30V, which I have no problem with S30V, but I do love this M4. The Axis lock, a lot of people love it. It's how fidgety it is. I can't fidget with it, but I appreciate it as being a good, strong lock. Makes this a good, strong knife, a great work knife, great cutter. It can definitely handle a hard use task if need be. I don't run across a whole lot of hard use tasks anymore, so that's not much of an issue for me. But I do love the knife, and like I said, once again, hats off to Peter at the Therapeutic Edge for turning me on to this one. The next one, is my Spyderco Shaman. And I bet you guys can probably all guess who hyped up the Shaman and who made me really want to own one. And that was Metal Complex. I've been a Metal Complex fan for a long time. I do watch a lot of his reviews, even though, and he honestly will admit they're not actual use reviews. He's just giving you his opinion on knives, and that's fine because that's kind of what I do too. If I've used a knife extensively, can give you that review, I will, but that's not always the case. But his love affair with the Shaman kind of led to my love affair with the Shaman for probably different reasons though. I've owned a PM2. I've owned about a dozen different Spydercos, and the reason I fell in love with the Shaman and the whole native series is because of the lack of the hump. Because of my hand size, guys, even choked back, when I put my thumb on the jimping, I put my thumb on the back of the blade, it's typically right where Spyderco's hump lands, and I don't find it comfortable. I love Spyderco knives. I didn't care for the hump, so I've gone with the native series because there's no hump, and I appreciate that. So hats off to Metal Complex for this one. I know this was his Excalibur for a long time once he put the titanium scales on it, whatever. What it really is, though, guys, is this a great heavy-duty, hard-working, hard-use knife, and a great steel that holds an edge forever. Like most all these other knives, it's made in America, and that makes me proud and makes me happy, and I love it. So, on to the next one. This next one, I was getting ready to start spending a little more on my collection. And once again, I reached out to Jared Neve, and not only did I take his recommendation, I tried to buy his, and he wouldn't sell it, and he still won't sell it because he's greedy. And that is my Mannix XL. You know, I just got through speaking on the hump on the back of a Spyderco. This one's not as pronounced as most. As you can see, if in my natural position, I still land right on it. I have to force myself to back up a little bit to use it correctly, but I still love it. It's still great. It's not super uncomfortable for me. It's just, I thought for an XL knife, a guy with 2 XL hands, you know, it would be a tad more accommodating, but it's okay. I don't have a problem with it. And this one is still in the S30V with the coated blade. I have not had any issues with the coating on this knife. I did experience a little bit of chipping in the edge with this knife, but that was my fault, guys. I laid it back to 15-degree mirrored edge, and it did chip a little. So I went in and put a secondary bevel on it. I have not had that issue since. I really think a lot of the issues that we have with knife steels and knives in general we probably create, because I definitely created that issue. Hasn't been an issue since. When I got this knife, guys, I bought it on the secondary and was super proud to get it. It came with copper scales and this really cool lanyard with a copper bead, and the knife was uncarryable. I think it was right around 12 ounces. You know, I preach all the time on, you know, on the weight of a knife and who cares, and it really doesn't matter, but 12 ounces matters. Grateful Panic did a video on this knife when he swapped the scales for me, and he weighed it, and the scales, when he took them off, the copper scales weighed as much as this knife does now. Just the scales weighed as much as the entire knife does now. So it's much more carryable. It's about 5.5 ounces. I don't mind that at all. It's a good, comfortable knife. It's not the most comfortable knife. You know, when you really have to bear down into a cut, in my opinion, the scales on the Shaman are much more comfortable to have to push very hard against, so I like it more, but I still love this knife. Now, last but not least, this might be a little bit of a touchy subject, but this is one of my favorite Spydercos of all time. I absolutely love this knife. I got it on a crazy deal of a trade with a guy named Lee. He's Bama Knife Guy. Some of you guys know him as. He took a knife that was worth way less than what he paid for this, and I'm pretty sure he only did that because he knew how excited I was and how bad I wanted this knife. However, the shout out's not to Bama Knife Guy on this one. I didn't see his review on this knife. I just saw where he wanted to sell it. The person who influenced me to wanting this knife was Dicey. I watched his review on it. I've wanted one ever since. I'm going to be honest with you guys. A lot of controversy surrounding that. I think it's time to let bygones be bygones, and you know, let's all be decent human beings and get over it. Because in my opinion, nobody did knife reviews, not lies, but reviews, any better than Dicey did. And he influenced me to buy this knife. I didn't get a chance to buy this one. This is the variant that I wanted until, like I said, Bama Knife Guy put it up for sale. I told him I wanted it. He told me it was mine. And I traded him a knife of lesser value for it. And we've been great friends ever since. He's an awesome guy. Had a great channel. I think he's fixing to start back up putting out content. So you guys all go check out Bama Knife Guy and what he's already done. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. So anyway, guys, that's my top 5 knives that I bought because of YouTubers and their influence. And I am going to add a 6th one just for fun. The QSP Pelican. I saw Tri-State EDC's review on this knife, and to be honest with you guys, I can't be certain whether I fell in love with the knife or I fell in love with his content and Cole in general, and the way he does things and the way he carries himself and the way he does reviews. I'm really not sure, but he made me want this knife, and when he put it up for sale, I snatched it up, and I don't regret it. You guys know I don't buy a whole lot of Chinese made knives, but I do love this knife. I don't know that I would love it so much had I bought it off Blade HQ. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it came from Cole, and I think a lot of Cole, and I aspire one day to be as good at creating content as Cole is, and I know I'll probably never reach that. You guys forgive me. You can see that blade's dirty. I'll let you guess why. It's because I use this knife. I use it all the time. It works great. It works hard. It cuts good. It fidgets great. It does everything it was designed to do. So anyway, guys, that's my knives I bought because of YouTube. Not YouTube. But once again, I appreciate you guys spending time with me. I always appreciate any amount of time you spend with me. And peace out, and I love you guys.